Good morning, 11 a.m. So we're here. We're talking about your legacy live. Today's episode, if you remember last episode, episode 3 last week, we talked about, we continued the conversation about your estate planning, right? And why it's so important to make sure that you've got estate planning in place. And in particular, we talked about how your business ties into your estate plan, how it's an asset, and those 3 key reasons why you want to make sure to have an estate plan in place if you're a business owner. If you want to know what those 3 reasons are, go back, listen to that episode if you haven't. Otherwise, we're going to jump forward, and today we're talking about exit planning. Exit planning is part of the, I guess you could say, estate planning, as we talked about last time. Estate planning is part of the exit planning strategy, okay? But why do we need to talk about exit planning in the first place? As business owners ourselves, why do we need to be aware of exit planning? Also, as members of the community and members of our economy, why do we need to be so concerned about exit planning and making sure that small businesses know how to effectively exit their businesses in a way that won't have a huge impact on our economy? Because to be honest, as you'll see as we go through this presentation today, this discussion today, our economy over the next decade or two will be greatly affected, and there will be a dramatic effect, for good or bad, upon our economy, dependent upon how well business owners are transitioning their businesses. There's a big way of transition coming. So let's try to get ready for that. All right, so today's discussion is going to be kind of statistics heavy. So I wanted to use a slideshow, use a little presentation here to get some of these points across and help you understand and see the impact that exit planning can have on our lives and such. So what we're going to be talking about today a lot is the boomer generation, okay? And there's a reason why we're talking about the baby boomer generation. As you can see here, the first baby boomers turned 65 in 2011, and there's about 10,000 people turning 65 every day. All right, and that'll be happening for a while as this generation moves forward and moves through ages. Okay. Now, let's look at this. When we talk about business owners in general, and this applies to the baby boomer generation and pretty much every generation, right? If they're a business owner, as business owners, we tend to hold 80 to 90% of our wealth in our business, okay? So if you look at what we own, you look at the real estate assets, you look at our cash, look at our investment accounts, all these different vehicles for accumulating wealth, most business owners will have 89% of that wealth tied up in their business. This is not a bad thing. This isn't a criticism. It's just the way it is. That's where we put our efforts, and that's where we put our time, energy, and money is into growing our businesses. So what we need to look at then is look at this transition from these baby boomers who are business owners and how they are going to deal with their business as they turn 65, 70, 75. We're seeing that most baby boomers don't retire at 65. They're kind of waiting another decade to retire. So looking between 70 and 75 is kind of where we're seeing them retire, especially the business owner types. Okay, so now out of this generation, 75% of the business owners who are baby boomers are looking to exit their business over that next 10 years. Like I said, by the time they're 75, most of them want to be out of their business. Even though they love their business, it's kind of what they've done their whole life. They've built it. It's kind of their baby, right? But they are ready for that third act in their life. And or they hope they're ready. So we're going to talk about today. Are they ready? How can they be ready? How important is it that they are ready? So all in all, this is a transfer of about 45 or 4.5, million businesses over the next 10 to 20 years. That's huge. Okay, 4.5 million businesses are going to be in that transition period, or in that are going to be owned by owners who are wanting to transition. Okay, that's 75% of business owner baby boomers make up that $4.5 million businesses. All right, so the amount of wealth of our economy that is reflected in that 4.5 million businesses is about $10 trillion. Okay, that's not a drop in the bucket, okay? That's a huge part of our economy. And we want to make sure that that $10 trillion doesn't just disappear, or that it doesn't cause issues, right? That keeping that as part of our economy, that wealth as part of our economy, can have a big impact on the success of our economy going forward, okay? All right. So whether this is a boom or bubble, right? Is this going to be a good thing, or is this going to be a bad thing, right? As these $10 trillion worth of wealth held up in these business owners, held by baby boomers, as that they're looking to transition, is that going to be a boon for our economy or a bubble, right? So if we look at the statistics, it's not looking great. Only about, when we talk about, a lot of times people talk about family businesses, and these are all small businesses. We're talking about that $10 trillion, that $4.5 million businesses. Those are all kind of the smaller businesses, right? They're all privately held. They're under $100 million in revenue a year and such, okay? So now, a lot of times these family businesses, privately held businesses, look to exit by, for the next, with having the next generation take over, and that family business passing on to the next generation. Now, only about 30% of the time is that successful, okay? Out of all the businesses who want to exit by transitioning and by gifting or by being bought out by the next generation, only about 30% of those are successful, okay? Only 30% of family-owned businesses survive to the next generation, the second generation. Now, if you look at the third generation, that's 12% of the fraction that survived to the second. Even smaller fraction survived to the third, all right? And it gets even worse from there, all right? So that's about 80% of businesses. So that's the family exit, right? That's the sell or gift to the next generation exit. 30% survived or successfully transitioned to the next generation. Now, out of those who look to sell their businesses to a third party or private equity group, right? Just selling the business, not gifting it or selling it to within the family. Only about 20% of businesses that are go to market to be sold are actually sold. So 80% of the businesses that are looking to be sold as the business owner retires, the business owner's like, hey, I'm done. I'm going to wrap this up. Let's get this on the market and sell this business. 80% of those sales fail, all right? Meaning that business owner does not sell the business, and they end up usually having to liquidate the business, dissolve the business. If it has assets, maybe they do a fire sale and just try to sell off these assets, trucks or whatever they have, equipment that they can try to get some money for. That's not great, right? So if we look at 4.5 million businesses wanting to sell, but only 20% do, that's a huge impact, all right? Think about what that's going to do to us socially, and think about what that's going to do for family wealth preservation for that next generation. And then think about the employees, right? A lot of small businesses that we're talking about here have at least one employee. So how is this affecting their families and them, right? Not just the business owner families, but the families of the employees. If these businesses aren't being sold successfully, if they're not transitioning to the next generation successfully, well, then those businesses are just disappearing, and which means the employment that they offer and provide disappears. So there's where you can see this doesn't just affect the business owners, okay, and their families and their wealth. All right, we're talking about employment and the families that are also blessed by the efforts and the success of these businesses. Okay. All right. So last 60 years, what's been driving our economic engine? So I just went backwards. I apologize about that. Let's move forward. So how big is this problem? Let's do the numbers. We kind of talked about it a second ago, but the average business, let's assume the average business we're talking about has about 5 million in sales a year, and assuming that their value is $2.5 million. All right. With these assumptions, we're looking at 6 million businesses that have more than one employee and 8% not transferable. So if 80% of these businesses aren't selling, that's $9 trillion worth of wealth that's just disappearing. Poof, it's gone. It's no longer in the economy. That's income loss to the business owners and their families. That's income loss to employees and their families. That's income loss to all the vendors, all of the suppliers, all providers who are part of that machinery that keeps these businesses running. Okay. When you look at most businesses, when a business is running, it's contributing. All of those expenses that it's paying are going to other people, right? They're filtering down to putting food on somebody's table. But if these businesses just disappear, that's money and wealth that's no longer going to be functioning and driving the machinery of our economy. And that's money that's not going into the pockets and staying in your family. And it's money that's not going to fund and help fund a business owner's retirement. So all of a sudden, these business owners who had this money tied up in their businesses, 80% of their wealth was tied up in their businesses, and they're not able to get that money out of their business. Well, now they might become a burden on the community and upon our social services, right? So, and also they're not going to have money to enjoy that retirement life that they wanted. So they're not going to be spending money at the restaurants. They're not going to be spending money, at the clubhouse, and they're not going to be spending money, on their grandchildren and spoiling them, right? So that's money that's not going to be there to help drive the economy and help feed the rest of us. All right. Okay. So what has been it keeps going to the first thing, and I keep repeating that before I see it's the first slide. Okay. Note to self, you can't hit the next button. Just use the mouse. Okay. Why should owners have an exit plan then? So here's why business owners, if you're a business owner, this is why you should be thinking about this. And this is why having an effective business plan is important. Most business owners do not have an exit plan. They just kind of hope and assume that when it comes time to retire, that somehow they're going to be able to get the money out of their business. Someone's going to walk in the door one day and say, hey, I'd love to buy your business. Or they think they're going to be able to just hire a broker and somehow sell it because it's been doing well for them, right? It's been providing for their family for a couple of decades. Why wouldn't someone want to buy it? Why wouldn't someone want to step in and have it fulfill their, and start providing for their families? Well, there's a lot of reasons why. You need to make sure that your business is attractive to a buyer, even if, and maybe especially if that buyer is your next generation, if it's your kids, right? Are they ready to take over the business? Do the employees trust them? Do the employees know them? Do they understand the business? Do they understand what it's taken for you to get the business where it is today and what time, energy, and money it takes to keep the business going? All right. That is all part of exit planning. Okay. Exit planning isn't just saying, oh, I'm going to sell my business, therefore I need to be ready to understand how I can hire a broker to sell this. No. This dives into your estate planning. This dives into your wealth management, working with your financial advisor, understanding what money you need to have a successful retirement, right? It means working with your CPA to get good tax strategies in place. It also, it means working with your family, maybe working with a family coach even to help you to make sure that your family understands the principles and has some fundamental principles that are important and kind of drive the attitude and values of the family, and which translates into the family business. Okay, that's part of getting the next generation ready to run the business. Okay, now why? Why do all these things matter? What can they accomplish for the business owner? So one is that they maximize the value of the business. If you plan on selling your business, everybody should approach it as a selling. Even if you're going to give it to your next generation, I have a strong belief and that I believe that if the next generation is going to take over the business, that they should buy it. Why should they not be required to meet those meet the demands of the business and step up and invest in their future. Okay, so doing exit planning, proper exit planning, maximizes the value of your business, positions it to be ready, right? If you look at the trades, right now, businesses, it's a good time to go to market with a business right now. A lot of people are looking to buy businesses. The trades I just use as a good example. So you're talking plumbers, exterminators, renovation companies, things like that. They're selling between some in a range, multiple range of like 3 to 9 times their EBITDA, which is a magic number that your CPA can help you understand, but it's a calculation of your revenue, right? Looking at your gross revenue before, it's basically EBITDA. It's earnings before interest, tax, and the A. When something accelerates in value, it's escaping me right now. I apologize about that. Anyway, so it's the EBITDA is a number that you can use and to look at the value of business, and then what will happen from there is someone will usually assign a multiple to that depending on your industry and how the value of your business. The more valuable the business, the higher multiple. So if your EBITDA is $1 million and you sell it a 3x multiple, then you're selling the business for $3 million, right? If you have a 9x, then you're selling your business for $9 million. Okay. Then also what this does for a business is it helps you to ensure that the owner is personally financially prepared. All right. And meaning that 80% of their wealth is tied up in this business. If you increase the value of the business and you can sell the business for a higher multiple and for more money, then that's just going to help you personally as a business owner be more financially prepared for retirement. Okay. Also, it's going to help you with that third act of your life, right? That third act after retirement. What are you doing in that third act? Are you going on trips? Are you traveling around visiting all the kids and the grandkids? Are you going on artist retreats and expanding your hobbies? What are you planning to do in that third act? Well, by doing proper exit planning, you can make sure you maximize that third act of your life. Okay. So the nice thing about this is it's not just good for the business owner, it's good for our economy in general, because they have that wealth that they've tied up in that business and created in that business doesn't just disappear. It's able to be reinvested into the economy as they spend the money and as the business continues, right? Not only have they extracted that wealth and they're spending that money to support our economy, but also the business itself is continuing and it's growing. And it's providing for the employees still. It's providing for the new business owner, and it's providing for all of the vendors and everybody else who is benefiting from the expenses and the growth of that business. All right. Okay, I pushed the wrong button again. Let's go on down. Okay, so just quick definition here. This uses big words. I don't like big words, but we're going to use them here. I like to usually talk a little bit, a little more plain English, right? Even though I'm a lawyer. I do like concise, easy to understand language, but let's just go for this. It's exit planning is a conscious growth of enterprise value in a manner that enables the efficient conversion of that ownership into personal financial freedom and peace of mind. Okay. Exit planning. It's just good business planning. All right. You're increasing the value of the business, that enterprise value on purpose with intent. You're putting goals in place. You're putting deadlines in place and structures in place, and you're meeting those goals. And you're breaking down those goals into 90-day sprints and year-long goals and 3-year goals, right? And you're hitting those benchmarks, increasing the value of your business, which is going to increase its attractiveness to buyers. So you can convert that business into personal financial freedom and peace of mind. Supporting yourself, supporting your family, and supporting everybody else that's affected by that business in general. All right. As I said a second ago, exit strategy is just good business strategy. Okay. So that's why I always tell people that as soon as you start a business, you should be thinking about your exit plan. Start your exit planning the day you start your business. Every decision you make as far as your entity structure, your employee structure, your employee benefit structure, your management structure, your fulfillment to customers, all of those things can have a direct correlation to the value of business. And by focusing on the end game, even if the end game's 20 years from now, or maybe it's 5 years, maybe you're going to be, something that's pretty popular these days is kind of the serial entrepreneur, right? Kind of what people call themselves. It's having multiple exits. So every 5 years, you grow and sell a business. You exit multiple businesses up until you retire. If that's you, if that sounds exciting to you, then you really need to make sure the day you start your business, if you're planning to exit in 5 years, you've got goals in place to be ready for that, so you can sell that business and that you didn't and come out ahead. So you're ready to invest and grow the next business, and you keep accumulating more and more, right? So because of exit planning, you're doing nothing more than implementing good business practices. That's how you are ready to exit. That's how you prepare for exiting. Also, you're focusing on the increasing the value of the business, which is going to have great outcomes for your personal life and for the business itself. And then working as it helps you build the team. Again, looking at the trades, one of the best things a trades owner can do, a business owner who's in the trades industry, best thing they can do for their exit plan and their business plan. Again, same thing. If you're doing good exit planning, it's just good business practices. In the trades, they call it getting out of the truck or getting off the truck. Okay, it means that they're no longer performing the work. They've got employees and good management structures in place and good employees in place fulfilling the services of the business. Because a business, someone who's looking to buy a business isn't looking to buy a job, right? And if you are a business owner who's doing all of the fulfillment work in your company and in your business, if you're on the truck going to sales calls, you're on the truck going to service calls and performing the work, one of the best things you can do for yourself and for your business is to put structures in place to get yourself out of that role. Okay, get a strong management in place. First, get a good, strong, employee and service person structure in place. So they're making the calls and they're providing the services, and then so you're managing it. And then the next step is to get a management team, so you're not even managing it, right? So you're more above the business. The higher you are above the business, the more you are personally out of the business, and the less the business relies on you to function and to be successful, the greater, more attractive that business is going to be to a potential buyer. Just flat out, right? So that's good business planning, good business strategy, fantastic exit strategy. Also, as we talked about last time, having contingency plan in place, your estate plan in place, will also working towards those goals of having a good, successful contingency plan and exit and estate plan in place is going to, again, move your business into a position where it's less reliant on you, which is good because even if you're not looking to sell, if you become incapacitated or pass away, the business can be exited by your family and your family can still reap the rewards of that business and the wealth that's tied up in that business. Okay. I think that's pretty good for today. So let's kind of end it there. But again, comments, subscribe, so you can get notifications of more things that happen here, and also the next episodes. Also, comment so I can get back to you and answer your questions. I'll keep looking at comments even as these become older and older. Hopefully people still review these and kind of see where we are, because we're building that foundation for some of the fantastic discussions we're going to have in the future as we dive more into the weeds and get more into specific strategies and things you can do today to elevate your business and elevate your family, empower your legacy. All right, till next time. You all take care.